Hello everyone, this part covers the 802.11 standard. Let's first look at the different IEEE 802.11 protocol components in WLAN networks. The IEEE 802.11. Wireless LAN Working Group has developed specifications in two parts. One pertains to the 802.11 physical layer standards, and the other to the 802.11 MAC layer standards. The physical layer primarily defines the wireless protocol's operating frequencies, modulation encoding methods, and support for maximum speeds. The MAC layer mainly handles various functions within the wireless network, or the implementation of specific protocols. For instance, QoS involves network rate limiting, dynamic modulation, DFS, security encryption technologies, wireless roaming, mesh, and more. These are all aimed at providing a higher level or richer content and applications for our wireless networks. The mainstream learning standards for 802.11 are actually focused on physical layer technologies, which is important to note. Let's also look at the relationship between IEEE 802.11 standards and Wi-Fi generations. Previously, we understood its operating frequency and lifespan. Here, it's essential to know that the physical layer technology primarily uses OFDM. Most standards primarily utilize OFDM technology. Wi-Fi 6 introduces a new extension, OFDMA, which will be discussed in detail later. Then regarding encoding, we have 64 QAM here, 256 QAM there, and in Wi-Fi 6, it's 1024 QAM. From spatial streams, you can see Wi-Fi 4 has 4 spatial streams. Wi-Fi 5 already has 8, and Wi-Fi 6 can support up to 12. Then there's channel bandwidth. Wi-Fi 4 only supports dual channel bonding, increasing to 40 MHz. Wi-Fi 5 also supports 40 MHz in its first generation, but in the second generation of Wi-Fi 5 and in Wi-Fi 6, it has reached 16 MHz, which is a significant difference. These are the differences between various 802.11 standards and Wi-Fi generations, which everyone should understand. Let's continue and take a closer look at these differences in standards. The differences among these three protocols start with A operating at 5 GHz, while B and G both operate at the 2.4 GHz band. A uses OFDM, orthogonal frequency division multiplexing technology, supporting various rates with a maximum of 52 Mbps. 802.11b operates at 2.4 GHz using DSSS, not OFDM. Note that its bandwidth is 22 MHz, unlike all other standards which are 20 MHz. 802.11g is very similar to 802.11a in parameters, also supporting up to a 54 Mbps rate. It also uses orthogonal frequency division multiplexing technology but operates in the 2.4 GHz band. These are the differences among the A, B, and G protocols. Next, we have 802.11n. It is a groundbreaking technology, its biggest change being bandwidth. Previously just tens of megabits and supported by different standards for different frequencies, which was quite troublesome. To use 5G, a standard change was necessary. After 802.11n emerged, it integrated 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz, achieving 40 MHz bandwidth and speeds up to 45 Mbps. In the 5 GHz band, it reached a bandwidth of 600 MHz, providing high bandwidth, which brought larger application scenarios to Wi-Fi. Another point is that 802.11n introduced many new technologies. 802.11n combines optimizations in the physical and MAC layers to greatly enhance WLAN throughput. Primarily, the physical layer technology implemented MIMO OFDM with 40 MHz channels and short guard interval (GI), increasing physical layer throughput to 600 Mbps. The short guard interval, GI, refers to the interval necessitated by multipath effects where signals collide and create intersymbol interference, ISI. For this reason, the 802.11AG standard requires a 0.8 microsecond interval between transmitted symbols, known as the guard interval. If only the physical layer's speed is enhanced without optimizing the MAC layer protocols like air interface access, the physical layer improvements of 802.11n would be ineffective. It's like building a wide road, but if traffic management can't keep up, congestion and inefficiency still occur. Thus, the MAC layer utilizes techniques such as block acknowledgement, block ACK, frame aggregation, to significantly boost MAC layer efficiency. Let's take a closer look at these technologies and how they enhance bandwidth for 802.11n. First, more spatial streams. 802.11n can handle up to 4 spatial streams, each corresponding to different bandwidths. Then, wider channels supporting channel bonding technology with up to 108 subcarriers per channel in the 5 GHz scenario. Shorter GI, as previously mentioned, has been reduced from 0.8 microseconds to 0 microseconds. Next, higher coding rates, which is about efficiency as previously introduced, involving source coding and channel coding, the latter adding messages to ensure data transmission. However, these added messages can reduce transmission efficiency, so a higher coding rate is definitely better, improving from 3/4 to 5/6. More subcarriers. In a 20 MHz channel, the number of subcarriers has increased from 48 to 52, increasing bandwidth, a variety of different technologies realized within 802.11n. We will now discuss what parameters influence its theoretical speed. Next is 802.11ac, which has brought WLAN speeds into the gigabit realm, a very high throughput standard, but it only supports the 5 GHz band, not the 2.4 GHz band. How does 802.11ac achieve high throughput? Firstly, it increased spatial streams from 4 to 8. Secondly, its channel bandwidth has grown from 40 Hz to 16 Hz. Thus, it has stronger channel bandwidth and higher rates. Additionally, because it only operates in the 5 GHz band, all 2.4 GHz interferences, such as from Bluetooth, infrared devices, and microwaves, are ineffective against it. This makes it less susceptible to interference and more stable in transmission. Let's look at its physical layer technology support, which includes channel bonding and the addition of multi-user multiple input multiple output MU/MIMO technology, which we will discuss later. It supports multiple simultaneous transmissions, but only downstream. In the MAC layer, it essentially adds an MPDU expansion, which is actually a further expansion of the previously mentioned frame aggregation technology. Another addition is the RTS/CTS, ready to send, clear to send mechanism, used to coordinate when channels are available or not. This is 802.11ac. 802.11ax, also known as Wi-Fi 6. What changes does it bring? Firstly, Wi-Fi 6 supports both 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz bands, compatible with all lower networks. 2.4 GHz theoretical speed reaches up to 1.15 Gbps and 5 GHz up to 9.6 Gbps, with a focus on multi-user functionality in Wi-Fi 6. Another advantage is that 802.11ax uses OFDMA-DLUL technology. OFDM, we mentioned earlier, stands for Orthogonal Frequency Division Multiplexing, and A for Access, suitable for multiple users simultaneously. Another breakthrough is MU/MIMO technology, which now supports upstream as well. The coding technology, or modulation technology, is 1024 QAM, increasing the efficiency of simultaneous transmissions. Another is basic service set, BSS coloring, belonging both to the physical and MAC layers, as it adds a field called color in the physical layer, but provides a MAC layer function. Its specific purpose is to resolve co-channel interference by coloring, allowing terminals to differentiate between two APs, thereby enhancing conversion efficiency. This is basic service set coloring. What is target wake time? It refers to different smartphones having different network needs. If you're not using Wi-Fi to transmit data right now, I'll let your smartphone's Wi-Fi module sleep until you need it, making your phone's battery last longer. This is the role of target wake time. What is the dual nav mechanism? The nav mechanism is actually used during data transmission to control whether we need to transmit, a negotiation and modulation working mechanism. These are some of the technologies applied in Wi-Fi 6. Lastly, let's discuss how to calculate the 5G Hertz rate. How is the 9.6 GDBps calculated? We use a rate formula. Let's see what parameters affect the rate. The first is the number of spatial streams, which will inevitably affect the transmission rate. The second is the number of bits encoded per subcarrier, which is how many bits each subcarrier can transmit. The third is the coding rate, which we mentioned earlier is better when higher. Another is the number of effective subcarriers. How many are available to carry the data transmission? We need to be mindful of some parameters here. The first being a term called symbol, which is the length of time data is sent, representing how much data can be sent in a unit of time. In 802.11 AC, the symbol length is 3.2 microseconds. In 802.11x, it is 12.8 microseconds, meaning in the Wi-Fi 6 protocol, the client can occupy more time per transmission. The second is the number of bits encoded per subcarrier, which is actually calculated using a formula. For example, the modulation method in 802.11x is 1024 QAM, 1024 being 2 to the 10th power, meaning the subcarrier carries data size is log 1024 equals 10 bits. 802.11 AC is 256 QAM, so the data volume carried by a subcarrier is log 2256 equals 8 bits. Simply put, Wi-Fi 6 uses 1024 QAM orthogonal amplitude modulation, each symbol transmitting 10 bits of data. Wi-Fi 5 uses 256 QAM orthogonal amplitude modulation, each symbol transmitting 8 bits of data. We can also see the coding rate here. And then the number of effective subcarriers. We need to note here about effective subcarriers, like in 802.11 AC. It's written as 52, right? In reality, it might be 8 or more. This time, everyone should pay attention to why in Wi-Fi 6 we have more effective subcarriers. Firstly, because the subcarrier bandwidth is smaller now. Previously, each subcarrier bandwidth was 312.5 kHz, now only 78.5 kHz. The difference is quite significant. Hence, we can use more subcarriers. At 20 MHz, we can achieve 234 subcarriers. At 16 MHz, we can achieve 196.0. You can calculate the rates for 2.4G and 5G after class. This section covers the 802.1 standards. In the next section, I will specifically explain the key technologies of WLAN. Thank you, everyone. See you in the next